Okay, let's unpack this. We start with this really striking image. You have Silas Heap, who's an ordinary wizard, walking home.
Right, and he's in this dense, freezing forest. It's the longest night of the year.
Yeah, and he's tired, a little worried about keeping the dark at bay, and he's just carrying some herbs for his newborn son, Septimus.
But the source material makes it so clear. What happens next isn't just, a small detour in his ordinary life.
Yeah.
It is the exact moment his family's whole existence just collides with this massive, high-stakes political and magical conspiracy.
That collision point is so critical.
It is. And our deep dive today is focused completely on the source materials that detail this decade-long upheaval. We're going to be tracing the path of a foundling baby.
Who is later revealed to be the lost Queenling, of course.
Exactly. And her arrival is the catalyst. It immediately kicks off the return of the most feared dark magic practitioner in the kingdom, DomDaniel.
And all of this is set against the backdrop of this really oppressive, paranoid regime run by the Supreme Custodian.
So our mission, really, is to synthesize the true cost and the consequences of this escape. I mean, it's a desperate flight for survival.
And it involves everyone. Wizards, ghosts.
A secretly magically charged boat, which is just an amazing detail.
Right, and it all culminates in this spectacular confrontation that basically resets the entire political order.
And to really understand the threat, you first have to get a feel for the world they're living in. If you look at the castle walls, the sources describe this beautiful, almost ramshackle community nestled around it. The houses are all higgledy-piggledy painted in these bright, vibrant colors.
It sounds like something out of a storybook.
It does. But here's the immediate and, I think, essential contrast.
The charming outside versus the grim reality inside.
Exactly. The Heap family doesn't live in a house with a whimsical name like Big Red Door or There and Back Again Row. Names that, by the way, were recently erased.
They live in room 16, corridor 223, east side.
That clinical bureaucratic numbering, it tells you everything you need to know about the soul of this new regime.
It really does.
And their room, it's just one large space crowded with 8 children, including the newborn they think is Septimus at this point. Jenna's little bed is literally squeezed into a cupboard.
So the physical space is cramped, which perfectly reflects how their social freedom has been reduced.
Absolutely. So when Silas decides, walking home that night, to make room for one more, for this small, abandoned baby girl he finds, he's performing an act of just pure compassion.
An act that instantly defies the entire political atmosphere of scarcity and fear that the custodian has built.
And he has no idea at all that he just adopted the single greatest political threat to the state.
So Silas, he's anxious, bundled up, and he finally gets to the castle drawbridge. He just about manages to avoid Gringe the gatekeeper noticing the hidden bundle.
But then he gets hit with the first piece of shocking news.
Marcia Overstrand, who is the apprentice, has just been made the extraordinary wizard.
And that change is the first domino to fall. Marcia is a really powerful figure who's just taken the highest magical post in the land.
Replacing Althermella, who'd been assassinated years earlier.
Right. And she knows. She knows exactly what Silas is carrying. She intercepts him immediately in this castle tunnel called the Ramblings.
And the location there is key, isn't it? It's transitional, it's dark, it's secretive.
Perfect for what she's about to do. And her actions, they're less of a friendly warning and more about establishing this very specific, magically binding lie.
She just steps out and delivers this shocking, completely unexplained order. Tell no one you found her. She was born to you. Understand.
And Silas, just totally overwhelmed, he just nods.
This command is, it's genius, but also terrifyingly binding.
It is. It instantly elevates the infant Jenna from some anonymous foundling into a key figure in this massive conspiracy.
Marcia doesn't even need to explain Jenna's real royal heritage.
No, she doesn't. That's what they're protecting her from. But all she needs to do is create this unbreakable origin story. By saying she was born to you, she places Jenna under the shield of the Heap family's, their fierce, personal, and legally accepted claim.
And that one move kept the Queenling hidden in plain sight for 10 years.
So let's fast forward those 10 years to Jenna's 10th birthday.
The source materials paint a really vivid picture of what life is like under the custodians. We already mentioned how they replaced the whimsical names with numbers.
Which is such a subtle but profound assault on their cultural identity.
But the physical manifestation of this oppression is, I think, even more chilling.
The security is everywhere. Pervasive. We learn that the guards, Silas describes them as having this wizard scum mentality. They patrol everywhere.
Specifically restricted areas like the beach, and they're carrying firearms, pistols.
These aren't just ceremonial guards. They are an occupying force.
Absolutely. The fact that Silas and his sons get stopped and have to show papers just to go to a public beach, it highlights exactly how the custodian regime works.
It systematically marginalizes the whole wizard community and just turns everyday life into this series of bureaucratic hurdles and, potential confrontations.
It's an authoritarian state, and it's built on the psychological toll of just constant surveillance.
And who's running this whole state of fear? The Supreme Custodian.
The descriptions of him are just wonderfully detailed. They show that his power is really rooted in his own insecurity and paranoia.
He's rat-like, small, with these pale, almost colorless eyes.
And the sources make a point of noting he spends many happy hours tending his ridiculously complicated goatee. This is a man who is obsessed with tiny details and appearances.
Yeah, and he's physically just overwhelmed by his own clothes. This voluminous fur-trimmed cloak that's just plastered with military badges.
But the real symbol of his illegitimacy, the constant source of his anxiety, is the crown he wears.
It's a beautiful royal artifact, but it has a dent, a flaw it got when it fell during the Queen's assassination.
So the crown now sits crookedly on his small, bald head. It makes him look slightly ridiculous, which undermines his whole claim to grandeur.
And yet he still gives off this powerful air of menace. That crooked crown is the perfect symbol for his stolen, unstable power.
And the custodian's instability, it just boils over on Jenna's 10th birthday. It's 6 in the morning, still dark, still chilly.
He's meeting with an assassin in the throne room, and he's breathing quickly from, what, excitement? Nerves?
Probably both. The assassin has confirmation. The spy, Linda Lane, managed to track down the Queenling based on her age and appearance.
And the custodian confirms the drawing shows she looks remarkably like the dead queen. This is it. This is the confirmation that Jenna is the last surviving obstacle to his permanent reign.
His response is immediate, brutal, and very calculated. He clicks his bony fingers and issues the command for that midnight raid on the Heaps home, room 16.
The assassin is to take the silver pistol. And here's where the detail is just so chilling.
1 silver bullet for the child.
And 9 other bullets, just in case of trouble, for the 9 family members. This isn't about control.
No, it's extermination. The custodian's fear of the royal line runs so deep he can't risk a single survivor.
But fortunately for them, the sources reveal that this protective magical network is already in play.
Right. Althermella, the ghost of the former extraordinary wizard, is an invisible witness. He's just perched on a cold stone bench in the throne room.
And he recognizes the gravity of that silver bullet threat. He knows it's specifically designed to bypass the powerful white magic protection that Jenna almost certainly carries.
So Alther acts instantly, though invisibly. He passes straight through the thick stone wall of the castle.
To deliver the warning to the only person who can do anything about it, Marcia Overstrand.
Okay, let's shift to the wizard tower and the woman in charge, Marcia Overstrand. We need to go beyond just, her purple aesthetic and really analyze her as a leader.
She's a fascinating mix of immense power and, well, being incredibly high maintenance.
Everything about her demands perfection. Her robes, her purple python shoes, even the magical objects around her.
The absurdity of her perfectionism is just a great source of humor and character insight.
Like the mirror.
The mirror. It has a nervous disposition because she's constantly demanding perfection from it. She insists it reflect her minus 8.3% thinner.
And she hates nasty percentages. The mirror initially fails and makes her look like an angry purple stick insect.
It's a perfect metaphor for her highly strung personality. I mean, she can perform the most difficult acts of high magic, but she's constantly waging war against these perceived imperfections. She even terrorizes her stove until it lights itself.
Yet you can't overlook her dedication. She wasn't born into this position. She was a poor hopeful.
And that term, hopeful, it describes someone waiting for years, maybe a decade or more, for an apprenticeship with a high wizard. They're fighting immense competition, political gatekeeping.
Marcia spent 7 years and a day as Althermella's dedicated apprentice. Her ambition is absolute.
And Althermella, even as a ghost, is still her mentor, still her guide. He lives in the tower, shimmering slightly, still wearing the ghostly blood-stained cloak from the attack that killed him 10 years ago.
His presence as an observer, with his neatly trimmed ponytail and beard, lets him synthesize information from both the magical and political worlds. He's not restricted by physical barriers.
He's the concerned, if, slightly passive, guardian of the tower.
An author appears right after Marcia delivers the news to the Heaps. An assassin is coming with a silver bullet. The tension is incredibly high.
And yet the source material gives us this perfectly human, petty little moment of friction between Silas and Marcia.
Her old history just resurfaces. Silas snaps, "I was his apprentice first, before you elbowed in."
And Marcia instantly throws the reason for his failure back in his face. He gave up.
He begged Arthur to annul the apprenticeship. He preferred reading bedtime stories to his sons over all the dusty spellbooks and the rigors of high magic.
And that's crucial. It shows us that the division between an ordinary wizard like Silas and an extraordinary wizard like Marcia isn't just about talent. It's about a choice.
The choice between intense ambition and familial dedication. And in this moment of crisis, that unresolved tension just adds this real human complexity.
Marcia, though, she is a woman of action. She initiates the desperate flight plan immediately.
Take Jenna to the wizard tower through these winding secret passages she remembers from her grueling time as a hopeful. Her purple python shoes just pounding the stone.
And here's where the narrative takes this pivotal, almost accidental turn. On their escape route, Marcia and Jenna find the young army sentry boy.
He's known only by his identification, Boy 412. He's just stuck near the tower archway, freezing, blue-lipped.
In that liminal state between the here and the not here.
The detail is heartbreaking. He's 10 years old, same as Jenna, and he's dressed in this flimsy cotton. A child soldier forced into freezing duty by the custodian regime.
Under that sickening slogan, pride of today, warriors of tomorrow.
Marcia, who at first just scolds him for being cold, suddenly realizes the systemic cruelty of it all.
And her decision to stop and rescue him is the act of compassion that changes everything.
If she had left him there to freeze, the entire course of the future conflict would have been completely different.
She just gathers his thin white body into her arms and brings him inside the tower. It's a spontaneous, non-magical act of rescue that defies the custodian's entire system of child abuse and dehumanization.
They make it inside the tower, but the safety is brief. Silas and Nico arrive late. They're bringing Jenna's forgotten birthday present.
A small, heavy gray pebble.
Yeah, Jenna is predictably underwhelmed. But before they can even catch their breath, the assassin arrives, ascending the silver spiral stairs.
The assassin raises the silver pistol to Jenna's head and just chaos erupts. Arthur, the ghost, screams a warning.
Marcia unleashes a thunder flash, a burst of powerful, disorienting light. It's a standard piece of high magic offensive equipment.
And it knocks the assassin down. Then comes the defense.
Be gird and preserve. This is a true act of extraordinary magic. A brilliant white sheet of light forms a shield encircling them.
It's not just powerful. It deflects the assassin's second bullet right back, wounding her in the leg and buying them precious seconds. It's a real testament to Marcia's training and her preparedness.
With the assassin temporarily neutralized, the only escape route is the rubbish chute, leading straight out of the tower and into the dump.
The descent is just utter chaos. Maxie the Wolfhound goes first, a streamlined streak of fur.
Followed by the entire Heap family tumbling through cold stew and carrot peelings. Silas gets painfully wedged.
And Marcia, showing a different kind of competence, uses a lock fast and weld spell on the rat door as soon as they land outside the dump.
So they are disheveled, covered in rubbish, and they land right outside the domain of Sally Mullen,
proprietor of the Sally Mullen Tea and Ale House, a place that proudly displays a "No Riffraff" sign.
And Sally, seeing Silas emerge with the powerful, attractive, extraordinary wizard, she instantly leaps to the wrong conclusion.
She's completely fueled by Sarah Heap's previous complaints, the gossip that Silas was obsessed with Marcia's career.
So Sally thinks Silas is eloping with Marcia Overstrand. She's calling her a floozy and demanding to know how he could abandon his family.
This misunderstanding, it's surprisingly effective. Silas is forced to explain pretty much everything, which convinces Sally that the danger is real.
And Sally's anger just as quickly turns into crucial aid. She provides the small green boat, Muriel, along with paddles and food, and secures their silence.
And Marcia, despite her high-maintenance personality, is forced to endure the boat's awful smell and quickly becomes seasick.
Silas sets the destination, the Marram Marshes, to find his Aunt Zelda, a white witch whose cottage is permanently enchanted against the worst kind of magical interference, like those Quake Ooze brownies.
As the Heaps are fleeing downriver, you have these two separate threats converging on them. First, the localized threat, the hunter, Gerald.
He's a professional tracker. Small, solidly built, pale blue eyes narrowed to a slit.
And he is eagerly anticipating hunting the extraordinary wizard and the Queenling. He calls it a night to remember.
He gets to the dump with his pack, totally confident in his skills.
But Marcia's quick action, securing the rat door and locking the chute, completely foils him. The trail is dead. Melted snow, rat disturbance, it's all gone.
His professional pride is immediately wounded.
So the hunter resorts to brute force surveillance. He lands on Sally Mullen's cafe.
And Sally is terrified when the hunter threatens to burn down her livelihood, ordering his pack to set brushwood under the cafe.
A frightened northern trader gives them up. He saw a small boat, red sails, a family with a wolf heading toward the port.
So the hunter is now back on the chase, and he's using a sleek, black, fast pursuit bullet boat.
But while the custodian's man is failing to track them on the water, the ultimate source of dark magic is making a decisive move.
Arthur Mella, the ghost, he reveals the catastrophic news. DomDaniel, the necromancer, has materialized in the Wizard Tower courtyard.
And we need to define DomDaniel. He is the master of dark magic, notorious for his destructive power.
His arrival is accompanied by this terrible odor, and the area crackled with dark magic, scattering the ordinary wizards in terror.
DomDaniel realizes immediately that Marcia's disappearance is a stroke of luck for him. She took the one obstacle to his physical return, the Queenling, Jenna.
The sources reveal that the bloodline of the queen, specifically Jenna, had this natural aura that somehow blocked or repelled the necromancer's ability to fully manifest his dark power in the castle.
So by removing Jenna, Marcia inadvertently cleared the magical path for her greatest enemy.
And this whole development is compounded by the custodian's treachery.
Simon Heap, the Heap's eldest son, gets captured while trying to secretly marry his sweetheart Lucy Gringe at the chapel.
The custodian, who the sources note loves lurking and believes hiding in the ladies' washroom gives him good luck, finds Simon there.
The custodian is subtle. He doesn't threaten Simon. He appeals to his pride. He offers him this fictional apprenticeship with the new extraordinary wizard.
And Simon, who's just desperate to escape his crowded family life and feel superior, is completely taken in.
He betrays the only place he knows they could be going. Aunt Zelda's in the Marram Marshes. The custodian, now armed with critical intelligence, dispatches new hunters.
Meanwhile, the Heaps are deep in the marshes. It's a chaotic, unpredictable, magical landscape. Silas, rushing through the treacherous ground, he accidentally stumbles into the quake ooze.
This is a great example of marsh magic. It's chaotic, natural, and localized. He's instantly attacked by quake ooze brownies, these small, nasty articles who try to glue him down and pull his hair out.
And this accidental magic brings some unexpected help. A boggart, a large brown seal-like creature, takes notice.
The boggart is basically the self-appointed local defense force of the marshes. He intervenes by delivering a massive blast of his pungent boggart breath.
Which is disgusting, but this natural defense instantly repels the brownies, and it frees Silas.
It just highlights the chaotic but effective defense mechanisms of the natural magical world, which contrasts so sharply with the high magic they're used to.
Marcia, despite her seasickness, is still deploying high magic to evade the professional hunter. When the wind drops and the hunter's boat closes in,
She uses projection and illusion magic, creating a mirror image of their boat, Muriel, sailing fast in the fog. This momentary confusion buys them the last bit of time they need to paddle to Aunt Zelda's island.
but the hunter, Gerald, he's too skilled. He eventually tracks them down.
So Aunt Zelda, a white witch who understands ancient magic and the Heaps, they devise this counterattack that is as creative as it is potent.
They use a powerful memory charm, a highly specific type of high magic, to just erase his past and his purpose.
The charm reads, "What was your life has gone away. Another past does now hold sway." They essentially just wipe the slate clean.
They convince the newly defrosted hunter that his entire life has just been a series of comical failures and that he was apprenticed to a clown named Dog Breath.
The effect is instantaneous. The hunter, completely transformed into this confused buffoon, he just walks away, humbled, asking Aunt Zelda if a circus might be hiring.
And he's happily redirected toward Fishhead and Dirtle's traveling circus and menagerie. So the physical threat is neutered not through violence, but by rewriting his identity.
And this intense magical sequence leads directly to the core magical revelation. Boy 412, the rescue sentry, is still confused by all the chaos. He asks the Heaps, "Who is Septimus Heap?"
Nico explains that Septimus was their dead brother, the seventh son of a seventh son, a boy who was destined for immense magical power, but who died at birth.
And Aunt Zelda, she senses the deeper connection. She realizes they need absolute truth. So she gathers them around the duck pond for a scrying ritual.
And she notes it requires a gibbous moon, nearly full, not a bad time to scry.
The tableau they see in the water is devastating. It reveals this long-standing conspiracy. They see Sarah holding her newborn seventh son.
The matron midwife, Agnes Meredith, who was secretly working for DomDaniel, slips a black liquid into Septimus's mouth, making him go limp.
She swaps him for her own child, Marin, just seconds before DomDaniel's assassin, Linda Lane, arrives specifically to kill the Heap's magically powerful seventh son.
The conclusion is just shattering. The baby who died 10 years ago was the midwife's son, Marin.
And Boy 412, the shivering child they rescued from the snow, is the true Septimus Heap, hidden and abused by the custodian regime, yet protected by his own innate destiny.
Marcia, observing his easy connection to magic later, just notes she learned something very interesting. It confirms her long-held but previously unsubstantiated intuition.
So with Jenna confirmed as the Queenling and Boy 412 confirmed as the true seventh son, Septimus, the focus shifts to their unexpected vehicle for the confrontation.
Muriel, the little green boat they escaped in.
And they discover Muriel is no ordinary boat. It is the dragon boat of Hotep-Ra, a magically transformed dragon.
This detail is pivotal for Jenna's heritage. Hotep-Ra, a powerful ancient wizard, had transformed a dragon into this boat to carry him to safety. The royal lineage is intrinsically linked to it.
The sources explain that the queens, including Jenna's mother and grandmother, kept up this tradition of midsummer day visits, lighting a lantern in the temple where the boat was hidden,
which ensured the dragon boat's existence was sustained by white magic tradition.
So the boat, or, the dragon, it recognizes Jenna's gentle touch, the inherited authority of the Queenling.
But the dragon boat's deep green eyes turn to its new master, Septimus.
He now possesses the dragon ring he found earlier in the tunnel. This connection establishes Septimus as the Dragon Master, and it gives him this innate, intuitive control over this powerful magical machine.
So he, Jenna, and Nico become the magical crew.
And this surge of white magic power immediately draws the greatest threat. DomDaniel, having successfully materialized, is waiting on his ship, the Vengeance.
The ship is described in terrifying detail. Massive, covered in black tar, with tattered black sails and flying a blood-red flag with 3 black stars.
The emblem of dark magic. And he's accompanied by Magogs, these vile creatures of yellow slime and sharp yellow teeth.
We learn that Marcia, despite being the extraordinary wizard, was not immune to DomDaniel's early power. She had been captured when she tried to return to the castle.
She was imprisoned in dungeon number 1. A pool of filthy water. She was relying entirely on Althermella's ghostly magic just to keep her alive.
But the sources confirm that the dragon ring of Hotep-Ra, which she was wearing, was the key to her escape. It restored her personal magic,
allowing her to slip her chains and climb out of the hold, avoiding the Magogs who covered her in yellow slime.
DomDaniel is just absolutely enraged when he spots the dragon boat and realizes the Queenling was within his reach on his ship, and now she is escaping.
So he uses his greatest dark power, summoning a massive storm. The sources describe an ear-splitting shriek and the late afternoon turning violently dim under the force of the magic.
This is where Septimus shines. He exhibits this immediate, profound mastery over the magical machine of the dragon boat, steering it with innate expertise.
This is the real distinction between his power and Marcia's learned power. He is a force of pure, untutored white magic destiny.
And during the chaotic confrontation, as the dragon boat dips toward the Vengeance, Marcia hears Septimus's voice, clear as a bell, telling her exactly when and where to jump.
The dragon boat's shadow momentarily falls across the Necromancer. Septimus helps Marcia jump aboard the dragon's neck, and she's rescued.
DomDaniel is left hysterical, just screaming uselessly at his crew.
The entire Magog crew, who had been misled into searching for a non-existent prisoner, Marcia, is deep in the hold. The Vengeance, deprived of its crew, its master distracted, is later completely destroyed that night.
By a massive swarm of quake ooze brownies that engulfs it, a fittingly chaotic end delivered by the marsh magic they'd encountered earlier.
With DomDaniel temporarily defeated, the new order starts immediately.
Marcia, witnessing Septimus's innate talent and the fulfillment of the seventh son prophecy, formally offers him the apprenticeship for the traditional 7 years and a day.
She admits she had been looking for a suitable apprentice for 10 years and never found anyone who could satisfy her until now.
And the exposure to this magnitude of magic fundamentally changes him. His dull gray eyes transform into the intense green eyes that define magically gifted people.
And when Marcia, as his new master, asks him what he wants, anything at all, He asks for the one impossible thing the custodian regime stole from him.
His identity. He asks for his name, Septimus Heap.
It's not just the high world of wizards that's affected. This political upheaval has immediate consequences for the common people who suffered under the custodian's oppression.
We look at Gringe the gatekeeper. He's held on to Marcia's half-crown, a silver penny, since the day she took office. He's afraid of the custodian's young army conscription edict.
Right, which demands all unapprenticed boys aged 11 to 16 report for duty. And his son, Rupert, just turned 11.
So Gringe, making the ultimate sacrifice for a man of his financial sensibilities, uses that one single silver half-crown piece to buy Rupert a 7-year apprenticeship with a respected boat builder, Janet Martin.
This specific detail highlights how the pervasive threat of the custodian's military conscription drove ordinary, non-magical people to seek safety and stability through skilled trades,
Actively undermining the custodian's military reach through economic maneuvers.
However, the source materials end on a chilling note of certainty. The conflict is far from over.
Marram, the false Septimus, who had been DomDaniel's apprentice for a time but was abandoned during the conflict, he finds DomDaniel's skeleton after the vengeance is destroyed.
And Marram, feeling betrayed and angry, makes a deal with the bony skull to restore the Necromancer to life. He accepts the skeleton as his new master.
The cycle of dark magic and conflict is simply paused, not broken.
What an incredible journey of discovery.
It really is. We've seen a world governed by oppression just shattered by unexpected compassion and the power of true identity.
A lost princess finds her destiny, an abused army boy reclaims his power as the seventh son.
And the cruel custodian regime is foiled not by an army, but by a handful of stubborn family members, an irritable wizard, a ghost, and a magically transformed dragon.
What's so fascinating here is the profound analysis of power. The custodian's regime, built on stolen authority and psychological control erasing names, forcing compliance, it proved incredibly fragile.
Because it was founded on fear and artifice.
Exactly. When the true sources of power emerged, the royal bloodline and the seven sons' innate magic, the entire oppressive structure just began to crumble.
And moreover, the rescue of Boy 412, a decision made on pure impulse, was the single most destabilizing factor against DomDaniel's entire power structure.
And we cannot overlook the sheer tenacity and resilience of the non-wizard characters in these sources, the ones who, through these small acts, ensured survival.
Silas and Sarah, devoted to family above all else. Sally Mullen, turning gossip and anger into crucial aid.
And Gringe the gatekeeper, who chose his son's future over the security of a secret piece of silver.
The source material shows us that political power is most fragile when it relies on appearance and fear.
The specific, personal actions, like applying a highly specialized memory charm to turn an assassin into a clown, or using a simple half-crown to buy freedom, that's what actually unmade the great plans of the most powerful antagonists.
So we'll leave you with this final thought for reflection. The custodian's regime thrived by replacing true identities with numbers and enforcing compliance through visible symbols of fear and stolen authority.
So what systems, organizations, or beliefs in your own life are propped up primarily by the belief in an unyielding authority or by appearances that hide a crooked core?
What seemingly small, specific act of recognizing a truth or demanding the right to a name might you perform today that could destabilize an oppressive system you thought was unbreakable?
You never know when the simple act of choosing compassion over convenience or choosing identity over anonymity might set a dragon free.